Honestly, a lot of us are probably walking around thinking that we have a cleaning problem in our home, and that's why our house every single day feels like complete chaos even after we clean it. But the truth is that we don't have a cleaning problem. The truth is we have a tidying problem. If you're new here, my name is Becky Truda, and over the past 6 years, I have been decluttering my home. And today we're going to talk about my favorite tidying tricks that will help you wake up in the morning feeling like your home is the peaceful, calm place that you always thought that it could be. There was a very famous study done in 2009 that stated women that talked about their homes as a place that was full of clutter had more stress. Doesn't that make complete sense to all of us? It does to me. Because clutter equals stress. The more clutter we have, the more stress we have. It doesn't matter if we have all the cleaning routines in the world, our house will still feel overwhelming if we have too much. With that very important study in mind, let's start with one of my very favorite first habits. I don't know about you, but before I used to walk out the front door, I did absolutely nothing. I would just grab my bag, put my shoes on, walk out the door. But now what I've realized is that one of the biggest things that can help us as we are on this whole decluttering journey is to start with the before you leave habit. And this habit basically consists of me reminding myself that I'm going to clean up this entry area / mine's connected to my living room before I walk out the door. This usually takes tops maybe 5 minutes, but I'm going to make this area feel a little bit better. You know what that does for me? It makes me feel welcomed when I come back inside the door. It makes me feel that I can accomplish more when I walk back inside the door. Before I even started the decluttering journey, I used to do this all the time when I would travel or go camping. I would leave my house as clean as possible because I knew when I came back in, I'd want my house to look good. I'd want it to feel good so that I was more motivated to put all those other things away and actually wash the clothes and all the other stuff, right? So taking that and running with it has really helped me. Instead of only doing this when I am going to travel, I do this every day. Before I pick up my daughter from school, before I start on any kind of errands or chores that I need to do outside the house. Think every time I'm stepping outside the door, I'm going to take a quick moment to clean up the area that I'm immediately seeing when I come back inside the door. This next rule has helped me immensely, and that is the lazy organization rule. That is, make it so simple when you are trying to put things away that it just becomes a no-brainer. It is easier to put your things away than it is to leave them out. If I want to build a new habit, it has to be so simple that it doesn't chafe me. It doesn't cause me irritation to have to do it. I was overcomplicating something that I wanted to make a new habit. And so as the book Atomic Habit talks about, if we want to start something new and be successful at it, then we have to make it so easy that it looks attractive for us. And that really just started with having one bin for all of those things every season, and it stays there year round. I'm not forgetting where those things are when the new season rolls around. I am not having to buy new things because I can't find the old. In that lazy organization, it comes down to making the baskets or the containers that you're putting your things in as easy as possible. I'm 100% with you if you're also one of those people that love to binge watch those organizational videos where they take everything out and everything looks completely beautiful in their pantries or in their closets. And there is a place for that, but it's not in my home. And that is because I realized that I am the kind of person who, when there is too many steps to putting something away, I won't do it. It's too complicated. It's too hard. So if you are getting stuck on the habit of putting your things away back where they belong or finding a home for them, it's probably because you are overcomplicating your organization. Try the lazy organization habit and see if it works. Instead of 5 bins, make it 1, add 1 label instead of 10, and see if that can help you as much as it has helped me. And so on that note, I wanted to really quickly thank today's sponsor, which is Nourish. They have been a huge part of a new whole corner of my wellness journey. So honestly, I just had my very first meeting with Carissa, and we've already scheduled another one for next week. But this was my very first time meeting with any kind of dietitian, and so I didn't really know what to expect. But I knew for myself that I am a woman with ADHD and I am a avid grazer. She completely understood where I was coming from, and there was no judgment or weirdness when I told her all of the crazy things that I eat throughout the day. And I really appreciated her honesty and very simple, doable steps that we started even after this first meeting. Nourish is so inclusive of over hundreds of insurance companies in all 50 states. And like myself, 94% of us will have exactly $0 to pay out of pocket. Nourish is an excellent opportunity where you could meet with a dietitian and get your needs met for the future. So if you want to try it out, then click on my link right there in the description, and you can have your first booked appointment in less than 5 minutes. All right, friends, we're going to talk about this bin right here, which, as you probably can tell, it's pretty heavy right now. It's pretty full. It's okay by me because you know what this next habit is? It is to have one bin by your door that you can use in several different ways. It's not only my decluttering bin, it's a bin where I put things that I need to return, to take back. It's gifts that I have that I need to give to other people because if I hide them away from myself, I'll never remember to give them that gift. This is a multifunctional basket. But another thing that can really help you about this bin is that it can be a place where if you do have those guests coming over you didn't expect, or at the end of the night, if you're just plain tuckered out, cannot gather the energy to put some of these things you left out away, you can put them in one central location. Now, I'm gonna get real close so that you hear me in the back, but I just made a big mistake recently, and that was listening to somebody who told me to put several bins in different areas to help me gather my clutter. Is that having more than one bin, having the option to have several places to put my clutter, meant that I procrastinated something awful, and it became a place where I would throw my clutter in there and forget about it instead of putting it away like I was supposed to. So the beautiful thing about having one basket by your front door is that it can be that catch-all. It can be that savior sometimes we need at the end of the night when we've had a long day. But it shouldn't become your procrastination station where you're just leaving things in there for days and days on end so you don't have to look at them. Schedule in a day where you do have time to put these things away, or even better, just have 5 minutes at the end of the next night that you can go ahead and go through this bin so that it doesn't become some huge chore to put things in this basket away. The other thing that I would say about having a basket like this is don't make it too big. Don't make it huge, okay? Make it something that is a reasonable size for you to be able to fill up maybe after a few days or a week. But the great thing is about having a smaller decluttering basket, or a basket that's kind of a catch-all, is that it constantly is giving you that visual reminder that you need to declutter these things. I'm constantly being able to see that this is kind of full right now. And so my brain is triggered that it is time to do something about it. As opposed to if I had a huge bin or even a lid on this bin, I wouldn't get that trigger or that poke as often as I need to. Talk about the best rule in the book. Honestly, the 80-20 rule changes lives. Okay, maybe that's a little dramatic, but it does really help. And that 80-20 rule says if you have a flat surface, there should only be 20% of things on that flat surface, and 80% of that flat surface should be free. This was not me making this up. These were like real professional organizers that have come up with this percentage to help us out. And I love this rule because it gives you a diagram in your head so you can kind of scale out your flat surfaces and have a better understanding of what it really means to have less on this space. Because the thing I realized once I changed up and started to really use the 80-20 rule was that there are so many surfaces that I was keeping things that I didn't like, didn't need out all of the time, and those things in turn made it so much harder for me to keep everything else clean. Did I want to dust an area that had 13 things on it? No. But one plant and one small basket with a remote, no brainer. That was easy. We need to simplify our flat surfaces in order to be more successful at keeping our house tidy. Because it goes back to that idea, people that live in super unclean houses, okay? We get that idea because there's so many schedules and rules and ideas that people have about cleaning. Nothing wrong with those. Those are helpful. But get this idea in our head that we just don't clean enough, when really it all goes back to the fact that When we have more clutter, like the study in 2009 said, we don't have the ability to take care of it. It gets lost. It doesn't have a place to go. We get overwhelmed by it. And so therefore our house always feels a lot more messy. So trying the 80-20 rule has helped me immensely to realize that I just had a clutter problem. I was untidy. I wasn't the slob that I thought that I always was in my head. No, these habits can seriously help you to change little bits of your home at a time. And I guarantee you, you will be waking up a lot easier the next day. So if you're enjoying this video, which there's lots more, so don't worry, but if you are, then please come join us here on Minimal Ease. We have a great time over here by subscribing. And of course, if you're already decluttering and organizing with us, then throw a heart emoji down below because it just gives me a big old smile every time I see them. So let's go on to the next one and you can let me know what you think. This one's too important to miss, and that is the one bin shoe rule, habit, whatever you want to call it, that I have come up with. And this one has changed the way I actually think about clothing and shoes. So this rule entails that I have all of my shoes in this one basket right here, and this basket stays by the door. Now, where I'm a minimalist, and some of you guys might not be trying to be a minimalist, this rule can expand and work for everybody. I have one basket for all of my shoes that's every season. One, I will forget what shoes that I have, and then I will go rebuy things that are very similar. And two, it is a limit, a powerful limit that I need in order to set a boundary for how many shoes I can have. I love shoes. I actually really enjoy buying shoes, and I could have way more shoes than what could fit in this bin. And that's why I needed a boundary, because at the end of the day, what I did realize about myself was that I still wore the same 3 to 5 pairs of shoes over and over again. And even those new shoes that I thought were amazing and fun, I realized that I had other shoes very often that could work in the same way as the new ones I had bought. So where you can use this in your own way that you want, having a bin for your shoes gives you a limit. If you want more shoes than what I have, what you could do is have a summer spring bin of shoes and have a winter fall bin of shoes. And so therefore those things are still being stuck together. You're still being able to see the variety that you have. And the other thing that's great about it is that you can always find the other shoe. It's always going to be in this bin at the end of the day. And so you're never running around like I used to, looking for that one lost shoe that had been taken away and put in another room. You always know where your things are. That's the most powerful part about these habits, is the reassurance it gives you when you do not have a cluttered home anymore. And sure, I mean, my house gets cluttered. We still have our moments, don't get me wrong. Overall, if you have a home that runs and functions because you have less and you know what your threshold for shoes, for clutter is, you are so much more aware of your limits, and you also feel more in control. That always makes us feel a little better when we have a little bit of control of the things that we can in our life, because let's be honest, there's so many things in our life that we have zero control over, but we do have control of our clutter. This next one's too fun to pass by, so I like to call this one the Barrier Island. Have you ever seen, what's that movie called with Tom Hanks where he has like the ball with the face on it and, you know, he's lonely? Gosh, that's an old movie.
I know.
That movie gave me the inspiration for this idea, which goes beyond the 80-20 rule, because what I found over and over again was that I love having dinners at my house. I love having my daughter and I and my husband be able to sit down at the table and eat together. It just feels warm and fuzzy, right? But why was it never happening? It was because my table was a hot mess every single night. It was a place where I worked, or we would drop things like toys or things that we found outside. It was just a place that we would drop things because what is it? A large flat surface. And so what I had to start telling myself is that no longer is this the drop zone for my life. This table right here is the Barrier Island. It is the Tom Hanks stuck on an island by yourself. There is nothing and nobody here. The only thing that I do keep on here now are our candles because it adds a little like ambiance and sweetness to life, but nothing else is going to be permanently stuck here. And whenever I do find things on the table, I know it immediately needs to go back out. And it's amazing how when I started this rule, yes, it did take us some time, but now all of us have gotten used to it, and we know that this is not a place that we are allowed to drop things, because the second that we give into that, we go right back to where we were, where this is the drop area for everything and everyone. Changing that mindset and thinking about this beautiful table where you want your beautiful family to sit and eat and enjoy each other's company is the barrier island. It is only welcome to fun games and food, and everything else has just got to go. This next rule is that we are not going to change up our spaces for a month. So I recently just got a comment which would have years ago hurt my feelings immensely, but I am very tough skinned now because I know what I like and don't like. The comment basically just said, your home feels like a dorm room. It's, blah, ugly, and boring. And basically just said, that's great. I'm glad you have your own opinion. I'm glad you are where you are and you're happy, because that's what it's all about, right? So with that in mind, what I did realize about this rule is that for so many years, I was constantly in this cycle of changing up everything in my house, from furniture to decor to rugs. Everything was in a constant cycle of change. And I think a lot of it had to do with the dopamine hit that I would get when things would be different. And that probably had to do with my ADHD. But I was constantly looking for a change in this room. I was never satisfied. And I really thought that that's what everyone else did. But what I finally have come to find out over these years is that the amazing thing that goes along with leaving a room for a long period of time, it gives you the perspective that we need to realize why we like or don't like things. And it had me thinking about, like, every time we go to the art museum in our area, which I love and adore, a lot of the art is the same. They don't change things up all that often. Why do I still enjoy going, even though I've seen all these things over and over again? It's because they were beautifully curated. It's because they are well presented. And it's because they create an environment that feels warm, welcoming, and peaceful. That's why I enjoy going to the art museum. But how do we bring that idea into our homes? Well, it certainly never happened when I was constantly changing up to go with every new season, or looking at all the new trends that were coming out and trying to buy all of these things and bring them into my home, because they weren't well curated. They didn't have any sentimental value to me, and they also, I knew, were cheap and would probably be going back out. My challenge to you then is to try and do a month off. A month where you do not change a single thing in your living room or your bedroom, where you're finding that you're constantly feeling the need to change everything out. And I want you to really process why you either still feel the need to change everything, or are you starting to see those things that you really love and enjoy, and you feel more peace in that room. As somebody who used to change things all the time to now somebody who very, very rarely brings in anything new into my home, what I will say is that it doesn't get boring when you really enjoy what you have. It seems weird, and if I was talking to myself 6 years ago, I never would have believed myself, but it's a fact. The more often that you sit and really appreciate and enjoy what you have, the less you feel the inclination to start that tornado again of buying things that you don't really need to fill spaces that should just be empty anyway. This next one has me laughing because it all started with my daughter. Before she goes to bed every single night, it seems, she will say, "Can I have one more second?" And it'll usually be a response of either no, or I'll set a quick timer, sure, you can have a couple more minutes. And that whole idea of the begging for one more second had me thinking of another habit that is great to start around your house. And that is to remind yourself that all these little things that we're doing throughout the day, whether it's laundry, or we're starting the dishwasher, we're making lunches, we're heading out the door, all of these things that we're doing on a daily basis can include the one more second rule. What I notice is I'll be doing my laundry and I'll be throwing everything in the washing machine, and of course I want to get out of there as quick as possible, right? When I think about the 1 second rule, I can notice things around me that would take literally 1 second to clean up and take care of before I walk out of that room. So I'll look on the floor and I'll just pick up little pieces of trash and put them in the trash can that I have in the laundry room. Takes a couple of seconds. Or when we're starting dinner, right? And we already are in the refrigerator, what would take one more second to do? Throw one thing away that's gone bad. Or wipe down that flat surface before you move on to the next step during cooking. I mean, there's so many things that take literal seconds that a lot of us seem to avoid because we just don't feel like doing them. We procrastinate, at least myself. That is me. I do that all the time. But remembering that rule of that, oh, just one more second, please, reminds me to tidy as I go. Because we are not slobs, messy people. No, we are not. We just tend to not tidy as we go, and that's why our house can feel so overwhelming over time. As we are tidying our house throughout our day, we're decluttering, we're organizing, we're doing all these things that we know are gonna make our lives a lot easier. What we're forgetting very often is to enjoy the process, because we need to make this into something that is fun and exciting and a game. We have to add a little fun into everything we do, because what is life even for if it's not going to be fun? If we're not going to enjoy these things, they can be so daunting and trivial when we have to dust things or we have to pick up things off the floor. Oh, I mean, it's just awful, right? It can be so boring. But what I have found is that whenever I know that I have to do something that is a little annoying, I will make it into more of a game. How fast can I do this? Set a timer. Give yourself 30 seconds to do the fastest cleanup of the living room in the world. Or those little tiny 1-second habits that we never want to do, we always want to procrastinate. Set yourself a reward system. Say, hey, I gave myself 5 checks today because I did 5 of these tiny 1-second tasks as I was going. So therefore, I'm gonna go out to eat tonight, or I'm gonna go to the park and have a beautiful evening with my family and my dogs. I'm gonna treat myself because I know I did things that I didn't necessarily want to do, but I did them anyway because I knew that they were going to be good for me. This is really how we build any habit you could possibly think of. We have to create some kind of reward system. We have to make it exciting. We have to make it fun. We have to make it easy. And if we do those things, we stop feeling this pressure, like I'm a messy person, that my house is never clean. We realize that yes, we might have a clutter problem and we might not be the tidiest people in the world. Building up your stamina for one of these habits and then building on top of that will mean that they are sustainable and that you can slowly build them with your entire family, as opposed to just shoving everything in people's faces and then expecting them to be perfect at them. No, let's build small habits at a time. Let's make them fun, exciting, and easy. And you will build amazing confidence over time, realizing that all those things you used to say about yourself in the past, about how messy you were all wrong. You just didn't have the right tidying habits in order to be successful, but now you do. All right, friends, if you've enjoyed learning about minimalism, decluttering, and organizing your home, then please watch one of these videos right here, and I wish you guys all the very best.